gonna have to do an AP McCoy and Barry Geraghty. That's the cameraman.
Hello and welcome to GG Weekend Watch with myself, Kate Tracey, alongside Dave Young and Andrew Mount, who is suitably donning his Christmas attire, minus the hat, as he's just getting it on. Dave missed the Christmas memo. I've gone for at least some festive red somewhat, as well as a nativity scene in the background, because this is our final weekend of racing before the Christmas period kicks in to full flow from Boxing Day onwards. So we have got a separate show to look forward to for you. After we finish recording this one, we're going to get into the festive action proper. But before then, we do have Ascot and Haydock to look forward to. Now, in terms of last week, a big thank you for Matty Sutcliffe for stepping in as well. And he had a good time with things, as did Andrew, who had a narrow defeat in the December Gold Cup for Andrew's Nap Madara. But it wasn't long until the lads were on the score sheet. So in the 225 at Cheltenham, Liberty Hunter dotted up in the 2-mile handicap chase, as selected by both Andrew and Matty. Then in the 240 at Doncaster, Why Not was smashed into 15-8 favouritism from about 7-1 when the show went out for Andrew. Then in the 315 at Doncaster, Jungle Jack went on to land a hat-trick for Andrew at the expense of Matty's Zap, Outer Belly, who was never near a second after being well backed. One of the strangest runs I've seen in a long time from Outer Belly. Very, very strange. Hoping for more success, though, this weekend, of course. Now we begin at Haydock with the 12.55 Mares and Officers Hurdle listed contest. This has been moved forwards now. 4-year-olds and over 2 miles free. Andrew, because you wore a silly hat, you get to go first.
Yay, thanks, Kate. I know I did it for a reason. Yeah, this is not the most exciting contest, but it's interesting to note that Running Stars played a big part in it in the last 10 renewals. 1 winner made all, 8 were prominent, and only one winner from 30 runners was described as coming from midfield or further back. So do look for those horses who are likely to be up with the pace. That brings in the favourite, Holloway Queen for Nicky Henderson, who won on a hurdling debut at Haydock last time. Sorry, at Lingfield. Henderson's got a good record in this race. Horses who are stepping up after a maiden win into this listed company have got a good record as well. So very boringly, I'm just going to side with the favourite, who will appreciate the ground as well. So yeah, Holloway Queen for me.
Holloway Queen at 7-4, then top price for Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boyenville.
Hang on, Kate, sorry to interrupt. Have you got a cat called Kiwi?
I do.
You were just talking about her.
I was.
My Kiwi girl, 25-1 outsider. Why are we not just tipping that?
No.
It's a coincidence.
Really?
Yes, in this race.
In?
My Kiwi girl.
No. If I was actually
forget about that tip. It's the Kate Cat connection.
The Kate Cat connection. God, that's not easy to say, is it, by any means? That's a little tongue twister in itself. Oh, if only I had known. If only I'd followed the flawless system of siding with the names, Dave. Then 25-1 winner I would have had. What name do you like in this one?
No, it's running in this race, Kate.
Oh, running in this race.
Yeah.
Thought it had gone in. Oh, back it quickly, Andrew. Say it.
You've not just come back from the future. You've not just come back from the future, have you?
I wish. I wouldn't be working if I had done. Right, we're going to see how Kiwi, whatever its face is, gets on, Dave. Who do you like in the Mares and Officers Hurdle?
Yeah, mad, isn't it? I know we can do this with some races. We can like colours, names and all that sort of stuff. And as much as this is a listed race, it does have a bit of that feel. There's not too much form to go by in here. Holloway Queen, ridden by Nico de Boyenville, was on the horse that was behind Kayla Wood as well last time. Now, Andrew was talking about running styles. This Kayla Wood was very keen, went off clear. Over 2 miles, I think it was, to stepping up in trip now, but didn't look like stopping, although I would imagine that Nico de Boyenville would have Holloway Queen a lot closer to her. She's a price of 7-2 at the moment, Kayla Wood, against the favourite Holloway Queen, who's 5-6 at the time we're recording. I would probably be leaning more towards her from the prominent riders, like ridden horses in here. Wouldn't be a race I'd be massively keen to get involved in, but I do think that Millie Supreme at 10-1 looks like an obvious price shortener. This horse ran behind Bill Joyce first time up. So imagine a horse like that going and dotting up at Sandown that looks like he's going to be a shallow hurdle potential winner. And she admittedly was comfortably handled by him, but she was 7-1 against him. She then ran in a race after against, I think it was Dame of the Cotswolds, that's already had 12 runs under rule, a 4-year-old filly, was only sent off 4-1 in that race. Only 5 runners in it, as much as its listed name in like stature rather than it actually is in quality. I think Millie Supreme looked grossly overpriced at 10-1. So for the price of a lottery ticket and hopefully enough money to buy me a new Christmas hat, I would go for Millie Supreme at 10-1.
10-1 shot, that would be enough to buy you a Christmas hat. Not that I'm anticipating that Andrew's hat was by any means anything less than that. Yeah, I'm disappointed though. My Kiwi girl, 25-1 in here, that neither of you two have given her a proper shout other than name reasons in that opening, or our opening contest at Haydock. Right, onto Ascot next, onto the 150. So we've got a bit of a, is that correct? We've got a bit of a break then between these two races. That's a bit odd, isn't it? That's very strange. I've just clicked onto it. Right, graduation chase. So we've got a lot of time to kill on ITV between these races. 4-year-olds and over 2 mile 5. A Rocco heading the way. Fildor coming over for Gordon Elliott. Only 4 runners though to go out in this one, Dave.
Yeah, just the 4 runners in here. Just on the time stuff, I think the listed race was down as 2:40 before, so there is a chance they could get shuffled about. But obviously, we're saying what the name of the races are, so people can figure out if they do change by the time we get to Saturday. But yeah, this only got the 4 runners in it. Irish dominance as well. We've got Fildor, James de Burley, Jungle Boogie coming over, and then Iroko is heading the market. Now, I'll get straight off the bat with this one because I know people don't want me to waffle too much, but I won't be bringing myself to have a bet in this one, so there'll be no selection from me. But just a couple of points in there. Jungle Boogie's a 10-year-old, but he's only had like a handful of runs in his career, a couple of starts over fences. 6th in a Gold Cup though. And I think Henry de Bromhead normally gets these horses ready first time up, so that horse has got a proper chance. James de Burley, when he dotted up over 2 mile 5s on his chase debut, would have a chance on that form. And Fildor, if he goes out from the front, I think his better performances come by doing that, would have a chance as well. And then of course Iroko ran well behind Trelawn. We'll talk about him a little bit later on, but I was a bit disappointed. I thought he should have beaten Trelawn, but I may be being harsh in there. I just think this is a race historically. I remember 2017 when Coney Island won this, and I bet more of that in the race. And the money came for Coney Island, and he won like a good thing. Le Homme Presse was smashed a couple of years ago. There's just been a history of the market getting this race right. And I think with there only being 4 runners and Iroko likely to be held up, I'd be keen to wait till the race goes off and see which one of these kicks on. If Jungle Boogie bombs out in front, I don't see how they beat Jungle Boogie, but I couldn't pick anything at this particular moment in time. It looks a good tasty little race, but probably wait till nearer the off, see who might be kicking on and making the run in, or see who's been smashed in the betting. Yeah,
tactical little affair, and like you say, the betting's going to do an awful lot of telling this as well. 7-4 Iroko top price, and then 5-1 Jungle Boogie as the outsider of the field. Goes tell you everything you need to know. Just refresh the page for the ITV televised races on Saturday. Apparently, well, it looks at this point like they might well have dropped the mares listed novices hurdle as well, because that suddenly disappeared off the free-to-air races section. So apparently now that 150 might be the first that they're going to show. So who knows? Could well have updated 5 times between now and Saturday in itself. So Andrew, whilst they sort out the schedule, you can sort out these 4 runners.
Yeah, what a shambles. And what a strange race this is. 1 British runner, 3 Irish runners, and like you say, Jungle Boogie, who 6 runs ago, which was also several years ago, was running in a bumper, and then he's 6 in the Gold Cup. Caused a 10-1 upset in the New Year's Day chase at Trelawn, his second start for Henry de Bromhead last term. I think the angle here is to take on Iroko or just stick them all on the place spot and hope for a result. The thing with Iroko, everyone seemed to think he should have won at Haydock last time when he was held up, given a patient ride on a track where such tactics are rarely helpful. He was half a length down on Trelawn at the line. He got first run on him. But Iroko, that was he tends to sort of struggle above the class 3 level, and I thought 7-4 was short enough really. So I'm like Dave on no selection. I'm not going to have a bet in the race, but I will do an Ascot place spot, stick all 4 in and hope for Jungle Boogie.
And hope that Jungle Boogie then will come in out of those 4 in the place spot for that graduation chase. Yeah, really fascinating little contest though, all the same. Right, back to Haydock now, apparently. For the 205, the Tommy Whittle handicap chase, 0-145 contest, 4-year-olds and over, 3 mile 1.5 furlongs in this one, 5-1 the field. And again, loads of horses we know plenty about, Andrew. So who'd you like?
Sorry, a very strange large insect has just landed on my laptop. So if you hear a bang and a squelch in a minute, you'll know why. Generally youth comes to the fore in the Tommy Whittle. In the last 10 renewals, going back to 2013, because we had an abandonment, horses aged 9 or older are 0 from 29. but that only rules out one here, 66 to 1 shot deal here. Prominent running style tends to be important, as it does in most chase races over most distances at Haydock. 7 of the last 10 led or were prominent. Hold up horses, just 3 from 53. You made a lot of £21.50, and 8 of the last 10 winners of this race ran in the last 4 weeks from 63 qualifiers. You made £10.50 back in them all. So generally, if you sort of throw in like 8 or younger, recent run, led or prominent last time out, 5 winners from 25 bets in the last 10 years, profit of £17.50. That's a bit of a worry for last year's winner, Famous Bridge, top weight of 12 stone, and has been off the track for 8 weeks. East Street is progressing, keeps winning, but his hold-up style is a little bit of a worry. So I just came back to sort of Frenchy Delage for Venetia Williams, who's going to be up with the pace. You know, it's consistent. I know there's a lot of 2s rather than 1s in the form figures, but I thought back in Frenchy Delage each way, around about 5 to 1 or bigger, should see that we're in the 3 there.
Another one then for Queen V, potentially Frenchy Delage, after she's just mind swept everything from the last few weeks, hasn't she? And that form doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. Dave?
Yeah, good looking race, this one. I'm a little bit I don't want to say torn, but I'm a little bit disappointed that Famous Bridge didn't have a second run this season. Typically in his 2021 season and last season, he ran at the beginning of like October or November, then another run, and then he came here. Of course, he won the November equivalent of this race last season, and then came and won this race 12 months ago. I don't feel like that's by design. I don't think they wanted to wait with him to keep his mark or anything like that. I wonder whether he might have been due to come out and there might have been a niggle. So that's in the back of my mind. But if I do take that out of it, given the fact that he's won second time up on those 2 seasons that I talked about, I think last year's winner's Famous Bridge has every chance of going and winning again. He's run 3 times at Haydock. He won twice. That was 2 times last season, November and December. Then he unseated when Man won the race. It was too far out that we just turned up to like being inside a mile when he did unseat, but was travelling nice enough then. But he's got that strong form at the track. I think he's got a chance. He ran after that in Cheltenham. He ran in the 4th in the Ultimate behind County Classico. Now, it was a pretty lowly RPR, like not as good as he could run, but still 4th, admittedly well beaten, wasn't a bad effort. His comeback run at Kelso was fine, I thought. It was an RPR of 139, so much more like where he should be. He's a couple of pounds higher than he was this time 12 months ago, and I know he is a 3 to 1 favourite. So if there hasn't been an issue with him and he is fine to go, I really fancy Famous Bridge to win this, but I'm just was he due to run at Aintree when that meeting was abandoned?
I'm not sure I've seen his name in the declarations recently.
Yeah, I thought the same, and I was talking to a friend earlier, and I was trying to see if I could find the list of all the horses that were running that weekend, and even my notes I've saved over them from that weekend. But I have a feeling he did have an entry, so it's a concern in the back of my mind, but not enough to roll me off.
I'm just looking at his record when he's been off for 5 weeks or longer, like 0 from 7, like. A couple of seconds in there, but he's been at odds of 9 to 4, 1 to 2, 5 to 2, 9 to 2, 7 to 2, 30 to 2, and 6 to 1. So, that was just, it's sort of like, it's just that 8-week break. It's just that nagging doubt.
Absolutely. So yeah, so he would have been a confident selection. He still will be my selection. I'm not going to let it be enough to put me off. I trust the trainers now to get their horses ready for it. They can do bits at work at home. And as I say, he did win second time up the last couple of seasons, albeit off of not such a long break. But yeah, Famous Bridge, he is the favourite at the moment, but he is the one to beat.
Well deflected back as well then, Dave. Very impressive work there. Famous Bridge, though, for you in that really competitive handicap chase for Tommy Whittle. Right, we're back down to Ascot now for the 225, the grade 1 long walk hurdle. 4-year-olds and over 3 miles. Strong leader, he's got his own way of jumping, but he is the 9 to 4 market leader. The Wallpark now sporting the JP McManus colours, coming over. Another one for Gordon Elliott. Crambo, the defending champion, in here as well. So really, really interesting little contest, Dave.
Yeah, proper decent race, this one. And I know the Stayers hurdle division does look wide open, Bertie up in there, but hopefully we're going to get some clues in here. I'll just say straight away that I've finished crying about the fact that Lucky Place didn't even have an entry for this race. I expected him to be in here. I expected him to go really well in here, and then I expected him to go up in the weights and then do well in Cheltenham. So fingers crossed that Lucky Place is okay. But with the field that we've got left, it's a real trappy looking contest. On official ratings and the way the market's priced up, you could probably make a case for a few at bigger prices. But Like Shoot First last time was annoying because we previewed the race when he was about 11-2 poker, went off at 22-1. He's got his favoured conditions now, ground and everything will suit him. So he could probably go well at a price, but he was 22-1 for a handicap and now he's 9-1 for a grade 1. That just doesn't sit right with me. You mentioned Crambo that took this race last year. I sound like I'm being really harsh with this horse when I say this, but he basically just stole sweets off of pensioners last year, didn't he? Paisley Park was turning 12, Champ was turning 12, and Dashwood Rasher was turning 11. And I know he got the race won, but his 2 runs in the spring after that would suggest that his current mark of 156 is definitely inflated. But I think Fergal O'Brien's mentioned that Noel Feely had him back for the summer and found a couple of niggling issues. My other concern with that about Crambo is he was entered for Newbury in the long distance hurdle, which Strong Leader won, turned into a bit of a muddling race, but they didn't declare him for that. So if he was ready to go, like, I don't see why you wouldn't run him and then he could win there and he could win here again. Maybe they do want to keep him fresh for it, but I think that feels a bit defensive. So I'm sort of anti-Crambo. The Wallpark's really interesting, the fact that Mark Walsh comes over, but I think he's sort of priced accordingly. So while Strong Leader isn't very tempting at 9-4, I do think it's his race to lose. The race at Newbury, where he just ground it out towards the end, it's only beaten Monroe, but it was a fiddly little race. The run at Aintree was really impressive in the fact that I thought Hidden Valley Lake looked like he had as much in him as Strong Leader did going after the last. He had to switch behind Buddy One, but he couldn't even pick up Buddy One, and Strong Leader went further clear. And we'll remember from all the years at Ascot, when you watch this type of race, there's such a long run-in up the hill, and it feels like it takes an age. I remember when Richard Johnson got beat on Time Hill when Paisley Park nabbed him and he was swearing off the line uncharacteristically for him. I think that was the day he wanted to retire, but I just mean you get horses that hit the front and something just has to be resilient and keep going. I see that in Strong Leader. I think this horse is just going to be better for this stiffer test at Ascot. I know he got beat at the track before over 2.5 miles, but he needs further. And Blue King Daru's no mug at that trip, even though I thought he was. So Strong Leader, I do think will win this one. I think he might drift out a little bit. I think we'll get closer to 3-1 about him, and then he would end up being a bit more of a strong bet. But even at 9-4 now, I think he's about the right price and the most likely winner.
And the most likely winner as well, but do watch for any potential drift then as well for Strong Leader. Yeah, currently about 9-4 though, bidding for a hat trick as well in the process. The best looking horse or best looking racehorse you'll see as well, isn't he? But typical son of passing glance, where he's just got that straight back and his own way of jumping. Andrew, it's always entertaining watching out my peripheral vision of what is going on, because I could see you fighting with a bug in the last day preview, and now you were getting up some sort of photo frame there.
Yeah, it said, 10 years since Red Civil and won it for the third time, and 12 years since that was taken when he won it for the first time. And I don't look a day older, do I? So
not one bit.
So,
I'm so pleased.
So with Crambo being a race in which repeat winners horses attempting to repeat their previous win have got a good record. I wasn't totally dismissive of Crambo. Given his good record when fresh, but I take Dave's point that it's slightly worrying that we haven't seen him out so far this season. I was more sort of interested in being against Strong Leader because I'm worried about the right-handed track. He's only raced this in this direction on one occasion, finishing second to Blue King Daru, albeit over a shorter trip, and he did jump out with his left on occasion. So yeah, there's always the chance that it's the near side rail is the place to be, and he ends up on the quickest part of the track, and that might actually help him in the closing stages. But there is, for a 9-4 shot, a horse who's only had one right-handed run in his career, the other 12 have come on left-handed tracks. I think you can leave that price alone. So Crambo would have a chance. I'd want to be against Blue King Daru because of the trip, and he was beaten along. He likes Ascot, but he was beaten a long way in this race last year. Katira is a lady horse, and she seems best when running against fellow lady horses. She did win the big field handicap against the boys at Aintree last spring, but was probably well handicapped, and I just worry about in this company, against geldings. So I was keep coming back to the Irish, really, the Wallpark, who the chance is obvious, and Shoot Furtive because he won the what was formerly the fixed brush hurdle at Haydock last time at a big prize for Charles Burns. So I think I'll just come down in favour of the Wallpark, but I might just sort of combine a few of the Irish, even thrown in outside the Eagle Fang there in sort of combination exactas. So yeah, the Wallpark Shoot First in particular might be the ones for the exotic. But yeah, not a strong betting race for me, but a very interesting race nonetheless.
Very much so, but yeah, like I say, in terms of the betting, I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? But not an easy one to solve whatsoever. And nice to go down memory lane there as well. If only we all just had like a nice little frame and photo to hand to reference any of these races. Right, lads, got a nice little surprise for you. We have more mixing up in terms of the televised races because the 240 at Haydock, the handicap hurdle Class 3 contest has been put back in now, literally in the time that it's taken me to refresh between the last two races. We've got another race now added in. 3-year-olds and over a mile, 7.5 furlongs. Andrew, have you looked at this race first and foremost?
I'm gonna have to do an AP McCoy and Barry Garrity and ask the cameraman what's that? Who won the race last year? All right, yeah, let's just go for that. So yeah, no, I've not looked at this race, so it would be remiss of me to actually offer something up.
Very fair.
Yeah, so I shall leave it.
Very fair. It's literally only just been put in there since the time that I have refreshed the page. So yeah, obviously the scheduling team, Dave, have been at the Christmas party, it seems like, and have been overindulging because we are all over the shop at present in terms of the ITV televised races. Have you looked at this 240 at Haydock?
Absolutely, I have.
Of course you have. Of course you have. Teacher's pet.
Well, no, on my multiple refreshes, I did see this race as being in the card. Anyway, I've done the race. It was a bit of a weird one to look at because it's a 0 to 130, which would be kind of fine for a televised race. 7 of the 8 runners are rated like up to 120, so it's not the best race for ITV. But it is Christmas, so it's a bonus race for us to go in. It's one of those races, again, I sound really rude when I say this, but I don't mean it in a nasty way. But when you get the lower rated horses, it tends to be not that they haven't got the potential to be very good horses. There might be another reason why they can't do it. So there's quite a few of them in here that can be keen. There's a few of them that don't jump very well. And there's quite a few of them that don't like winning races. The two that I whittled the field down to was Bertie's Ballet and Lune de la Mer. Now, Bertie's Ballet has got some reasonable form. You can pick and choose whatever you like to make a case for any horse, can't you? But 1 over course and distance on heavy ground last December when beating the now 130 rated Norman Fletcher. After that, ran behind Panjari in the Scottish Supreme Novices Hurdle, and that horse is now rated 135. Then, you know, he beat a 120s mare that day. Then they tried him in the Grade 2 Kelso Novices Hurdle behind Personal Ambition. Django Bay was in there, Cannock Park, and he actually beat Dripsy Moon, Choose a Copper, Aunalam. Now, the 3 horses I've mentioned that he beat are rated 135, 121, 129 themselves. Then he bumped into Key de Bourbon that Willie Mullins sent over to win the trainer's title. He beat a few high 120s horses that day. So Bertie's Ballet's novice hurdle form suggests that he is very, very, very well handicapped. Now, they started this season over fences, sent off 5 to 2 joint favourites, so they must have known the mark was okay, but was bad over fences. 2 runs after have not looked anything like the horse of last season, so I'm definitely scared about that. But the return back to Haydock on hopefully some slowish ground, it's soft at the moment, might get worse, might perk him up, and I think Bertie's Ballet has to have a chance. He's 7 to 1 at the moment. Lune de la Mer is not reaching necessarily, but has got to defy like a near 600-day absence. I thought this horse would be a lot bigger. He's 9 to 2 at the time of recording, but beat Lismullen Lad with ease in a Kelso bumper. That horse is now rated 134 with 5 lengths behind Kamsanath. That's a 137s horse. When I talked about some of these horses not fulfilling their potential, this horse has obviously been off the track for ages, but is 2 from 3 under rules. Those runs did come on good ground, which are another sort of caveat that's a negative. So at the price that Lune de la Mer is, I'd give it a chance, but probably wouldn't bet it. I would probably have a small stake on Bertie's Ballet and then a very small stake reverse forecast on the pair.
Teacher?
Okay, nice.
Yeah, can I just interject? We've had 4 runnings to this race previously, and it's been a front runner's benefit. I think all 4 winners were sort of in the first 2 throughout. Often it's because the winners made all, and the runner-up was in second throughout. So just having had a quick look at them when Dave was giving us the benefit of his insight and knowledge, or waffling on, take your pick. Milldam is very possibly the front runner here. Was beaten at Huntingdon last time, finishing 4th of 6 on a 7 to 1 shot, but has shown a tendency to jump out to his left on occasion. He's won his last 3 starts going left-handed at trips of about 2 miles, so maybe he could be the one to give you a run for your money. But do check those running styles before you get involved in this race.
Check the running styles. We bought him enough time there, Dave, for him to go back into looking that. So nicely done, Mr. Bout.
Thanks, cameraman.
No, yeah, thanks, cameraman.
Don't put the McCoy
okay, just to reiterate your way of playing that, just to round it off.
My way?
Yeah, your way of playing the race, just to reiterate.
prices weren't up when I was looking at it, so I would have split stakes between the two of them. But Lune de la Mer at 9-2, even the top price is a terrible price. So Bertie's Ballet would be a small stake win, and then I'll do a small stake reverse forecast, but only sort of like your lunch money.
Perfect, but only for lunch money then on that one. Right, little Brucey bonus contest that we have to go at though at Haydock for the 240. Right, back to Ascot for the 3 o'clock Silver Cup handicap chase, Premier handicap, 4-year-olds and over 3 miles. Now Victtorino is heading the way at 9-4 Trelawn, the aforementioned Trelawn. Whether or not he'll get that form boost then from Morocco earlier on, it's 4-1. Next in the betting for this one, Dave.
Yeah, holy moly, this is a proper race. I know there's only 8 runners, but this is fascinating, and it's wrecked my head a little bit. I'll be as quick as I can with this one because I just need to have a little moan about Trelawn. Only in the fact that the Haydock run last time, like Andrew mentioned, lots of people think that Morocco could have beaten him. I don't necessarily think that might have been the case, but it was Kim Bailey's comments after when he was asked, have you got an idea where he'll go next? And he said, yes, I've got a plan for him, but he didn't want to say. I don't understand why you wouldn't say it. I know the owners might want to get on anti-post, but I was trying to work out what I thought that was. I thought it was the Welsh National because they kept him in, and it's not, and he's running here. And he had a cut in his leg as well. You've mentioned that on Nick Luck's podcast. So I've got too much wreck in my head about Trelawn to know whether this is a genuine target or not, or whether this is maybe a bit of a plan B. But I think conditions and everything should suit him to run a big race. But he is up £8 for that Iroko run. So he's definitely in with a chance, but I think his price is more than covered. The changing man I put up last time when he got beat again, he just was a bit soft in the finish. I thought that's 7 chase starts now where he hasn't won. His RPR that day was 146. He's only gone up to 135 now. So I still think he's a well-handicapped horse. But again, by design, I think they've said that this horse will win a 3-mile handicap chase, but I don't think they've been really plotting it. They've just been running him in all the big 3-mile handicap chases, hoping he'll win. And he might just keep getting incrementally risen and just not win a race. Sam Twiston-Davies being on top, I do like that. I think he's one of the best jumps jockeys over fences out there. But I don't know whether the changing man's the type of horse that you can be aggressive with. In that last run where he had... was it Frero Bamboo that beat him? He was coming up to the last, and I looked at Brendan Powell, and I thought I was in two minds. I was thinking, you've unseated last time. Don't ask him for one because I don't want you to unseat. But then at the same time, I'm thinking I want to see like the Ruby Walsh-esque throw him into a fence type stuff. And I think he wasn't caught in between two spaces. I just don't think he can ask the horse to do that. So I do like the changing man, but I've decided to stay away from him now. So I come back to last year's winner, Victtorino. This horse was only a 5-year-old last year. He was carrying 12 stone. He only carries 11 stone 3 this year. His weight obviously is slightly different to last year, but he's off a mark that's still well within his grasp. Now, yeah, man was a little bit unlucky in the home straight last year. Possibly could have got closer, but Victtorino, like I say, was only a 5-year-old. There's been so many winners of this race in the past where I just look through the honours roll and I can think, oh, I remember that horse running in the Hennessy. Oh, I remember that horse running in the Hennessy. And it has been seasonally a pointer to what horse might go well in here. I think we've had Ansam, Mr. Malarkey, Regal Encore, Gold Present, and then Venetia Williams' very own Hoblon de Zobo ran at Newbury. Most of those ran in the Hennessy, a couple didn't, but I think it's a good pointer for this. So where it's not plan A for Trelawn, I'm not sure. Where I don't think it's plan A for the changing man, I do think that this is the plan for Victtorino for Venetia. The Newbury run, I put him up and was a bit concerned about him going left-handed, and Andrew sort of echoed that and made me fear it even more. It's hard with the replays at Newbury because they cut the camera to the leaders, but I didn't think he was even going to finish the race, and he managed to stay on for third. He's obviously in reasonable fettle, won this race 12 months ago. He is sort of, like, his chance is definitely covering his price at 2-1, but I just don't see Victtorino getting beat, but that's because I've got negatives towards Trelawn and the changer man. So yeah, Victtorino I definitely fancy in this race, but his price is a tiny bit skinny. I want bigger.
Yeah, you want bigger. Well, yeah, of just £1, wasn't it? Higher than last year as well. Then for Victtorino, back over his favourite course and distance again. But yeah, 9-4, then just on the skinny side for Dave, but should take all the beating. Andrew.
I think if you want bigger, Dave, you're going to have to ask Santa, because when he's 6-4 and tight at that at about 5 minutes before the race, you'll be going, I wish I took that 9-4 like Andrew advised me to. Because you look at the rest of it, I mean, Trelawn, I put him up last time because he's got a good record first time out. Now 4 wins from 4 starts, but second time out, He won once after a break of 113 days on his second start of the campaign, but the twice he's been returned to the track within 6 weeks, he's disappointed. One of those defeats went odds on in a field of 4 runners. He finished 3rd. So there is just a slight, well, there is a genuine concern about Trelawn backing up. The Changing Man, I cannot for the life of me see why this is horse is 5-1. He's had 9 goes on right-handed tracks. He's lost all 9. He ran some good races over hurdles, but over fences, his last 3 starts right-handed, unseated, fell, and jumped like a snooker table, finishing 4th or 6th. So I think you're mad if you want to take a short price about that one. He's got to, I fear for Sam Twist and Davis's safety. I just hope he can get him around in one piece. Obviously, Holloway de la Barrière, the French raider, is a bit of a fly in the ointment and might be sort of worth a saver or worth combining in a reverse forecast with Victtorino, because you're guessing there. 300 through 5 is one of my regulars for betting on right-handed tracks. For a long time, he was unbeaten right-handed. One season, he didn't even run this way around when I thought he could actually run a big race as an outsider in the King George. He lost that good right-handed record, never finishing worse than 2nd, went down the field in the Bet 365 Gold Cup last April. And given the way the Paul Nicholls horses are running, particularly first time out, I'd be wary about him at 11-1. 2 for Gold's a good old boy who ran respectably here behind Chianti Classico last time. And yeah, I think if you're looking for one each way, certainly him will be a good one. Phlegmatic, I was hoping they'd a supplement for the King George, because I could see him running 3rd at 100-1, despite having a lot to do at the weights, because he just loves Kempton so much. But I'm not interested in him at all until he turns up at Kempton again. So yeah, I think Victtorino 9-4 is a good price. It will be shorter on the day, and I think he'll win. That was an incredible run at Newbury. I mean, he was out the picture. I was in the press room, so I could sort of see him, because I was watching the track, and every single in-running player in the country crapped themselves, because all of a sudden this horse is sort of loomed up on the outside, albeit it didn't get within 5 lengths of the winner. And it was like, what's that? You thought he was going to be pulled up. And because he was losing ground by jumping out to his right, but he got daylight in the straight on the outside and stayed on strongly. So he went into a lot of notebooks for must bet on right-handed track next time. He loves Ascot. I think he's got a great chance here.
So both of you in agreement then about Victorino. Yeah, it was wild, wasn't it? Where he just suddenly appeared in picture, but back over its favourite course and distance, pound higher than winning this race last year. Both of you like him a lot. Right, our final scheduled race, as it currently stands, I don't want to tempt fate now and for another random race from Haydock to be put in for ITV's sake or anything like that. But as far as I'm aware, the 3:35 for Ladbrokes Hurdle Premier Handicap 4-year-olds and over a mile 7.5 furlongs is our final scheduled race for now. 4-1 the field, and we have joint favourites between Be Aware and Dysart Enos in this one, Andrew. So another cracking little puzzle to solve.
Yeah, this is a belter. Now, traditionally, certainly in the last 10 years, it's been a good race for horses who've been up with the pace. But you look at this, there are quite a few of them, most of them the outsiders as well. So it looks like it's going to be run at a decent gallop. And the hold-up horses who dominate the market, Be Aware, runner-up in the Greatwood last time, 4-1. Dysart Enos, also 4-1, 3rd in the Greatwood. Secret Squirrel, who was... did really well to finish 3rd over course and distance last time behind Our Champ, when the front runners didn't come back at all. The winner, the runner-up, the 4th were on the front end throughout, and in finishing 3rd, he had about 9 lengths to spare over the next of the hold-up horses. Of course, Hughie Morrison's won this twice in recent years with Not So Sleepy, 2019, 2020. So, of those near the head of the market, I just favour him. I've got our old friend Favour and Fortune in here for Alan King. He was the one I put up each way for the Supreme and got laughed at most of the preview nights. I think when I did it, he was 280 on the exchanges, and on the day he's gone off at something like 28-1. He's only got beaten 9 lengths despite jumping like 2 snooker tables, and what came out and won a good race at Aintree next time. And Alan King, despite having a terrible record on Saturdays, particularly with his hurdles, has won this race before with Tritonic in 2021. I mean, Tritonic's not out of this either. He's 2 from 2 here over hurdles. And he's got plenty of good course form on the flat as well, including in Royal Ascot handicaps. So he might not be the worst each way bet. And Black Hawk Eagle, I thought, had some sort of chance as well for Kerry Lee now that she's back among the winners. 3 runs right-handed for this yard outside of his seasonal debuts, first and second. And even Impero as well, you know, his front runner likes right-handed tracks, 2 from 2 right-handed for his current yard by a combined margin of 14 lengths. So there's loads of sort of potential plays in here, but I thought the safest one for, you know, getting one in the first 3 or 4 places and get enhanced place odds, probably just Secret Squirrel each way.
Oh, I love Secret Squirrel. Yeah, 6-1 shot in here as well. Hugh Morrison and David Bass won't miss him with his little blondie locks in here. But yeah, favourite fortune. I remember that now with his 6th in the Supreme. Like I say, he went and won nicely on his next start, but a lengthy enough time off to have to overcome here. So Secret Squirrel, I can't say that name. Secret Squirrel. There you go then. Each way for Andrew and here at 6-1, Dave. Who'd you like?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads to like in it. This is a proper Premier handicap, isn't it? And Andrew's touched on plenty of horses in there. You'd probably be able to make a case for most of these because they're good, genuine horses that are doing their bits. I've got one that I feel is the most obvious play at the prices as they currently stand. Now, I'll just quickly touch on Be Aware that comes second in the Greatwood when I napped him. Ouch, that still hurts a little bit because he did so much running to get close to Burdett Road. He did the best of all the closes as well. He's gone up £7 for it, but did look like a well-handicapped horse last time out and probably still has got a bit more up his locker. But we talk about the Greatwood. Lucia won this race last year. She was 3rd in a Greatwood and came and won this. Tritonic came from the Greatwood after finishing 5th. Mahayed came from the Greatwood after finishing 7th. Brain Power came from running the Greatwood, finishing 8th. So it's positive for the runners that did run in that particular race. That brings in Be Aware, Dysart, Enos. Godante was poor, and I think he's probably out of winning handicaps now. I've gone off of him quite a bit. But it also brings in Fiercely Proud. And we've talked about this horse on the show multiple times. And we've talked about the fact that he unseated his jockey on the way to post when he was well backed at Cheltenham at the beginning of the season for a handicap off of, I think it was 130, so off of a slightly higher mark than he is now. That was a prep run for the Greatwood, which Ben Paulin had like purposely said, and obviously he didn't get the prep run. So 7 days later, he came and ran at Ascot, sent off 7-2 joint favourites with Secret Squirrel that Andrews mentioned in that race where it did favour the front runners, and he fell 2 out. Now, I don't think he would have had Secret Squirrel covered, but there wasn't much between the 2 of those horses. I thought it was a reasonable run for him, considering it was potentially, hopefully, a prep run for him to go well in the Greatwood. Obviously, falling's not ideal, so I feel like Ben Paulin maybe just decided to take stock and think, look, maybe we won't really target the Greatwood. Maybe we need a little bit more time, because in that Greatwood, I don't know why Ben Jones was on the inside riding on that type of ground when everyone else came to the stand side rail and all of the finishers came from there as well. The horses he was next to as they turned for home was Under Control that pulled up, and Black Poppy, I think, as well. And she all but pulled up. She was tailed off, but he still stayed on all right. Now, I think that looked like a run where they were just like, let's run him in the Greatwood because we planned to run him in here, but they weren't really trying. He wasn't very well backed, but he's 20-1, top price for this race, where there's 4 places up for grabs. Now, where things have gone to plan for the likes of Steel Alley that's won races, the fact that Be Aware did get beat but has run well, and even Dysart Enos, they've gone up in the weights given the fact that they've run well. Fiercely Proud is still well handicapped off his current mark. You look at that Sandown race at the back end of last season where Be Aware was second. He was 7 lengths further back or 8 lengths further back than Be Aware, but he's now got a £15 swing with that horse, and he's got a £16 swing with Steel Alley. Only got a £2 swing with Secret Squirrel, but I just think at 20-1, Fiercely Proud, this is plan B for him, but I do think he's a very well handicapped horse, so I really fancy him. 20-1, 4 places up for grabs. Fiercely Proud to be the one for me. I have bet him and Secret Squirrel anti-post, but I would be tipping up Fiercely Proud now because 20-1 is still too big.
20-1. He's due some luck, isn't he? It's been an absolute disaster so far for Fiercely Proud, and not entirely his fault either, because like you say, that intended seasonal debut, I think it was Callum Pritchard, the pin in his iron, in his stirrup leathers came out, so it wasn't even the horse's fault. The horse didn't even do anything, and anyway, he fell off. And yeah, then like I say, then to fall and then to go into the Greatwood, which was the intention. Like with everything in racing, you can have the best plan you could possibly want. Never does that plan really come to fruition, and Fiercely Proud is the epitome of that. So if it goes and wins at 20-1, then all will be forgiven. Right, Dave, back to you, please. Anything from anywhere else this weekend? Any random ITV televised races that might get put in?
No.
Ideal. Andrew, anything else?
Yeah, 130 Haydock, Excitations. Last time out, seasonal debut, finished 5th, beaten 26 lengths. Ran a remarkably similar race on his comeback last year, 5th, beaten 24 lengths, went out and won at Sandown second time out. The year before, he was beaten on his comeback, came out and won second time out. And the 2 years before that, beaten on his seasonal debut, then was tried over sort of 2.5 miles both times, got beat, dropped back to 2 miles, won. So he's got an incredible record on his second or third start of the season. Basically, for the last 4 campaigns, his first 2 mile start after a recent outing has resulted in a win. So he's 9-year-old now, been a long time for a while, been around for a while, trained by Pam Sly, but yeah, 2 miles, ideal for him. I think he's going to run a big race. Serendipity for the forecast. That's one I tipped up at that Aintree meeting a few weeks ago, because another one with a good record, second time out, and the meeting was abandoned.
Yes, so Serendipity then as the second player, I guess, behind Excitations for Pam Sly, Paul O'Brien in that 1:30 at Haydock. Right, Andrew, is that going to be your nap Excitations of the weekend then, or
I'll go Victor. What's it?
Victtorino.
Victorino, yeah. Just because I've put one up as a danger against Serendipity, I think in terms of strength of bets, it has to be Victorino.
Yeah, Victorino to go back and defend his crown. Dave, has Andrew stolen Victorino off you?
Well, no, I'm glad he has put it. I was torn between a few in here, but I'm still just going to side with Famous Bridge, despite my sort of head telling me that maybe the prep run didn't happen in November. But my heart says that Famous Bridge will win the Tommy Whittle.
Okay, then, and for the Tommy Whittle as well. Right, lads, thank you so much for all of your efforts in a very changeable show as well. And so hopefully we've given you as many races as we possibly can. We've tried to cover everything that was televised by ITV, then wasn't, and subsequently put in. So hopefully we've covered everything for you. So big thank you to the lads for all of their hard work. Big thank you to you for watching. Make sure to catch our festive episode that we've got coming up next. Again, we're going to be looking at some of the key races over the festive period. That video coming up next.